What's going on, everyone? So, the Oklahoma City Thunder just came off of a loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. And now, this is the second time in a row that the Lakers have beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder. And a lot of it has been just the size advantage that the Lakers have. The Oklahoma City Thunder have really struggled with size, and they've struggled with it pretty much all season. Now, look, they have some very notable wins, and they've beaten some big teams. They've beaten Minnesota, they've beaten Denver, they've beaten the Celtics, but it is something of concern. They've also lost to those teams. They've also lost to the Timberwolves. As I mentioned, they've lost to the Lakers twice. They've lost to Sacramento a couple times, lost to the Pelicans. They've lost to teams that have notable size. And it is a real concern, and it's one of the things that drive me to lead to, okay, I don't think Oklahoma City is going to be able to win it this year. And look, they are in great shape. Don't get me wrong. They have been incredibly impressive. They are an exciting team to watch. They've been fighting back and forth for the 1 seed. They're going to be a lot of fun, and they're going to be an extremely tough out, without a doubt. Chet Holmgren has been spectacular this season. SGA is playing like an MVP, and Chet, the problem with Chet is he's more of a power forward right now at this stage than a center. But they're operating him as a center, right? Because he's 7'1", but this dude's like 110 pounds, right? Like he is absolutely incredible, right? I don't want to take anything away from him. But at 7'1", 195 pounds, he has his struggles against, just bigger physicality. And he gets bumped around at times, right? You saw LeBron and AD, and guys just kind of just move him out the way, right? And they don't have that true size. Again, it's not to take anything away from Chet Holmgren. I mean, the guy is shooting 55, almost 56% from the field, 17, almost 18 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists. The guy has been arguably the MVP this year, or not MVP, but rookie of the year, right? The guy's shooting like 39% from 3-point range. The guy's doing everything you could ask for what is a rookie, right? So it's not to take anything away from Chet Holmgren. But if you could move him to the 4, that would make things a lot better and really kind of add some size to the Oklahoma City Thunder and their team. Now, there's 2 ways that they go about this, right? Now, the thing is that there's not really any like notable centers available right now to where it's like, okay, that guy makes a world of sense. Go get that. But Oklahoma City, they have so many. They have like something like 30 draft first round picks in the next like 5 years. Like they are just strapped with like just ton of draft picks. They got a bunch of young talent. They got guys that they're not even playing that could easily lead you to a more valuable asset. They got like Bertans' contract that they could use and get and unload with draft picks and stuff. So the Thunder could very well they could make multiple moves if they wanted to and really just kind of push their chips to the table if they wanted to. But there's always the patient route, right? Where you wait for like a Joel Embiid or something. I'm not saying Joel Embiid's going to become available right now or anything like that, but like, what if the Sixers, underperform and they lose in the first or second round again? And Joel Embiid's like, get me out of here, right? Then you could, you be patient, you wait, and then you just kind of go all in on Joel Embiid. And you add him to Chet and SGA, and now you're probably the best team in the league, right? That's obviously a route in which they could do, a route in which they could go, or some other star type center. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who comes available. If Minnesota, if they end up crumbling, could you maybe go get it like a Karl Anthony Towns? Although defensively, that'd be a real question mark. But still, just to kind of give you a legit center that has some size and some just a little meat on them, right? Is a little route. The other alternative outside of like waiting and being patient, because you can make an argument that would be the best course of action, right? Look, you don't have to win it this year. There's no real pressure to win it this year. There's no real need to have to go and win it this year. And look, maybe they could go get, like a Lauri Markkanen or something who he's not solving your center issue, but where you just basically have so much firepower, so much talent, good luck beating them, right? That kind of thing. Like, that is always a possibility as well. But another alternative is the Thunder are lucky enough to be in a position where they have all their young guys. Many of the guys don't really have to be paid, right? They have some time to kind of sit and marinate. So maybe you go and just take a flyer on a guy, right? Maybe you go and, like, I'm not saying that this is the best option by any stretch of the imagination, but, like, do you go get like a Clint Capella, right? And before you go, like, absolutely not, it's ridiculous, right? Why would you even suggest Clint Capella? I can already hear the comments, but again, hear me out for a second. I understand Clint Capella, he's making $20 million this year, $22 million next year, right? But after that, you could just let him go. And at that point, you probably figure out your situation. But he gives you a guy that, yes, I don't believe is worth $20 million. But again, the Thunder are in a very unique situation where it's not going to affect them at all. He's still 29 years old. So he's young. He kind of fits with what you got going on. He's not some like slow, like 30-year-old. But I mean, this guy is a double-double machine, right? True center with 7'5" wingspan. It'd be nice. You could put him alongside Chet Holmgren. Imagine him and Chet being able to just block shots. Defensively as a front court, you'd be ridiculous, right? I mean, you have Clint Capella who's averaging just under 2 blocks per game. But this guy is an 11 and 10, almost 11 and 11 guy who can dish out 1.1 assists. But the big thing is, like, even offensive rebounding, right? Which the Thunder are good at grabbing offensive boards. But Clint Capella is averaging 5 offensive rebounds a game, right? So with their shooting and their skilled guards and all that stuff, the more opportunities you can get on that end, the better. And to just have a guy like a Clint Capella that's just absolutely just gobbling up boards and, you know, being a lob threat and being able to block shots, I don't hate the idea. Again, I do think he's overpaid, but it probably wouldn't cost you much to go get him, right? And again, Oklahoma City is in a position where they can kind of weather that. Another thing would be kind of Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks. Now, that I think would be difficult to get away because, you know, the Knicks don't really necessarily want to trade him or have to trade him or anything like that. But there have been, you know, reports and rumors of like, hey, like, you know, for the right deal, right, they may consider it. And he's much more better valued, right? He still has 2 more years, I believe, after this season. He's making like around 15, 16 million. But I also know his contract goes down each year, right? So he's a free agent, I believe, in the 2026 season. But that like 2025, 2026 year, he's making like 13 million. So his contract goes down. So that gives you flexibility as you have to start paying guys. That'd be really good. You know, everybody has a price. The big concern is just his injury history. He has a really rough injury history. But again, 7 feet, 7'4" wingspan. He is arguably the best offensive rebounder in the game. Guy is absolutely ridiculous. You know, he's a guy that is averaging 10 rebounds a game, 5 offensive rebounds, 5.3 this season to be exact. But, you know, he's only played 21 games. But again, you get away with him. He's averaging 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks. Great, excellent defensively, excellent offensive rebounder. Mitchell Robinson might actually be my like favorite choice for that regard. And I think he's somebody that like could make a ton of sense. Do you just kind of like, because again, you have the Thunder have like 30 first round picks. Do you just say, hey, you know what? Let's go overpay for Mitchell Robinson. He's like 25 years old, right? I know the injury history is a concern, but like outside of that, I think he'd be like a perfect fit and complement. You know, and you wouldn't have to lean on him as heavily because you still have Chet. He can run the center at times. You just kind of need Mitchell Robinson, kind of start games and close games. Or like you could even get away with like Mitchell Robinson playing like 15 minutes a game, right? Like just like, hey, buddy, like we just need you in spots, right? And certain matchups, right? Like I just think that he would be an awesome selection. Another idea would be like on a cheaper, like a real cheap option is Andre Drummond. And now, again, I'm sure there's some people. Andre Drummond, again, hear me out for a second. So this season, he is averaging 7.5 points. So call it 8 points and 9 rebounds, 8.5 rebounds. But as a starter, he's averaging 14 points and 17 rebounds. Now, I don't expect that to be like super sustainable because he's only started 7 games this season for the Bulls. But again, you don't necessarily need him to be, a 15 and 15 guy. You just need him to be, can he be in a starting role, be like 10 and 10, which I absolutely believe he can be. I mean, he averages a double-double for his career. He's been a 13 and 13 guy basically his entire career. This is another guy that can grab offensive rebounds. This season, he's averaging 3.3 offensive rebounds a game and only 16 minutes of play. He's averaging 16 minutes a game and giving you basically 8 and 8 or 8 and 9. Like, if you just bump him to 20 minutes, he's a 10 and 10 guy. Gives you some size, gives you some rebounding. Now, there are concerns about just like, his discipline at times on the defensive end. But he is a guy that can block shots. He can rebound, gives you some size. He's super cheap. To me, it'd be a low risk, high reward type move. You're not paying and selling the farm for him, right? You're not having to shovel out a bunch of assets and stuff, right? Like maybe you can get him and some other pieces or whatever from the Bulls, right? Because you do have Bertan's contract and just throw them like a first or something, right? I don't know. It's just, again, he's making $3.3 million this year, right? And he's 30 years old, right? He's been a guy that was a star and, kind of let his ego get in the way. So I think he'd be a good example for the young guys. I mean, go watch his camp interview, right? Where he's like talking to the kids. He basically tells you like, dude, like I messed this up. I think he'd be a good influence on the young guys. I think he'd be a guy that you could slot in. You could bring him off the bench if you wanted to. Just kind of give you some real size down low. Guy that can rebound, block some shots. I do. I just, again, as like a cheaper option, a cheaper alternative, I do kind of like the idea. But lastly, again, not a ton of great options, which is the problem. So that's why, like I made the argument earlier, do you just kind of wait? But I do. I like the idea, like, okay, you can wait, go get Andre Drummond. And then, again, it doesn't cost you anything. It's not a bad move. It's a low risk, high reward type move. I do kind of like the idea of Andre Drummond for Oklahoma City Thunder. The other thing could be Valanciunas. So, yes, the Pelicans are in a pretty good spot. They're not great, but they're not bad right now. They're okay. They're kind of like middle of the pack right now. They're the 7th seed, but they're technically tied for the 5th seed. So, again, not in a terrible position. But Valanciunas was available in the offseason because he's on the last year of his deal, which he's not making like crazy money or anything like that. He's making call it $15.5 million. It's like 15.4, but he's making like $15.5 million, and then he's an unrestricted free agent. The Pelicans were like quietly shopping him in the offseason. It wasn't super quiet because there were reports about it, but they were shopping him in the offseason because the Pelicans are worried that they're going to lose him for nothing, or they're expecting to lose him for nothing, right? So, they would be willing to get something for him. And again, I don't think it would cost you a ton, right? Maybe you could even do, like I said, Bertans and whatever, first or something like that. I mean, you don't want to just throw away first, but like I think you could get him for relatively cheap, right? And Bertans is making $16 million. So could you just like kind of swap salaries and then just like give up a first or something to go get him, Valanciunas? Because Valanciunas is very solid. Defensively, there's questions about him, but he's a guy that can block shots. He is 6'11". He's got good size. He's not afraid of contact. Do a little bit of everything. He could be a low post threat. I know Thunder like to shoot a lot of threes, but they're a team that, could do good by having a guy that you could just dump the ball down to and he could just go get a bucket. That would be really nice. He's also from the free throw line. He's an 80% free throw shooter, which is good. So it gives you some good free throw shooting. He's a guy that can make plays out of the post. So you can dump the ball down to him and let him just go to work in the post. He's basically a 14 and 10 guy. Get you, a couple offensive rebounds, average 2.5 offensive rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.2 blocks, and half a steal. He can spread the floor a little bit. He's not great spreading the floor, but this season on 2 attempts a game, he's averaging 38%. So it's not terrible. He's a career 36% three-point shooter. Again, not a great three-point shooter, but not terrible. Right? To me, again, Valanciunas would be another kind of low-risk, high-reward type player. I don't hate the idea of Valanciunas. I don't think he'd cost you a ton. And you could put him next to Chet. You could start him, bring him off the bench, whatever. Again, if it works, maybe you can convince him to re-sign. If it doesn't work, kind of just let him go. And it's, maybe you lost a first. But again, so now you have 29 firsts, right? I don't hate the idea. I don't. And, they have so many firsts. You just find the least favorable first and give it up and go get him and turn Bertans into him. And then there you go. Right? I don't think it's a terrible idea. But again, you can make the argument, just be patient. The Thunder don't have to win this year. They don't have to do anything this year. But I do think that they would benefit mightily by getting some size down low, right? Getting a legit 7-footer with some meat on him, moving Chet to the 4, right? And then kind of going from there, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe bring Dort off the bench, go SGA, Giddey, Williams. We'll just use Valanciunas as an example because we're talking about him. Valanciunas and Chet. I don't know. I don't hate the ideas. But again, just conversation. So as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you like the idea of any of these centers that I mentioned? Is there somebody else that you would like to grab that maybe I didn't mention? How do you feel? What your thoughts are? I'd love to hear it. Do you think that they should be patient and just wait? Just say, nah, don't. None of these guys are worth it. Wait for the big guns type thing. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.